It's time again for another video nobody's going to watch but many people asked for, so if you have any video requests for me, be sure to let me know in the comments and leave a like while you're at it, because there might be a chance I might consider making it when I'm not busy beating my meat. So if you've been following me for a while, you may know that I favored Terence Crawford to win in a dream fight against Errol Spence. But even though that is my shitty opinion, I do want to take this time to talk about how I think Errol Spence could beat Terence Crawford if they were to finally fight, since this has been requested so much. The first key to victory for Errol Spence is to establish his jab game.
Wait, hold on, didn't you say Crawford was gonna neutralize Spence's jab with counter-punching?
Yes, I do think there is a possibility Crawford can neutralize Spence's lethal jab with his own jab from southpaw, or a left hook from orthodox. However, this brings me to how I think Spence could use this to his advantage. Call me crazy, but I think Crawford is more comfortable fighting in the southpaw stance than he is fighting in the orthodox stance. We see him fight out of the southpaw stance way more often than he fights out of orthodox, and while he may be doing it for tactical reasons, I think it's entirely possible he's doing it because he's just more comfortable that way. However, I think Spence has a much better chance against Crawford when Crawford's in the southpaw stance than if Crawford was in the orthodox stance. The reason I think this is because Crawford will have a much harder time dealing with Spence's jab from southpaw, since it'll be much harder for him to hand fight with him. Spence will be free to get his jab off if Crawford isn't hand fighting from the orthodox stance. Spence would only have to worry about Crawford jabbing with him from the southpaw stance, in which Spence can bait out that jab and start dictating the pace with his own jab. The reason I think Crawford would be better off fighting Spence from orthodox is not only because of the aforementioned hand fighting with the lead hand, but because he could also look to counter that jab with a left hook over the top, or split Spence's jab with a counter right hand. Since Crawford fights out of southpaw more often, it's possible we see him do that against Spence, and Spence has the better jab in my opinion. Spence has one of the stiffest, sharpest jabs in the game today, and he's so good with his right lead hand. I actually wondered if he was right-handed until I saw this. The second key to victory for Spence is to use his pressure against Crawford. I don't usually like talking about physical attributes, but Spence is right when he says,
"He's too light in the ass."
It's no secret Errol Spence is the bigger guy. Spence is an excellent pressure fighter, and the longer he could apply pressure to keep Terence Crawford doing Terence Crawford shit, jumping around the ring, the more he could wear him down to take the advantage in the later rounds. This could be accelerated if Spence is able to get Crawford to eventually sit still and start digging body shots on him. And to satisfy my OCD, I'm going to go with the rule of 3, and the third reason Errol Spence could beat Terence Crawford is because I think the matchup favors him. As everyone says, styles makes fights, and I think Crawford is actually a good matchup for Spence. The best way I'd describe Spence's style is a counter-punching pressure boxer. He likes to pressure you and walk you down with a stiff jab. His jab also baits his opponents into punching with him, in which he counters, continues his pressure, rinse and repeat until he breaks you down. I think Crawford is going to try to box, stick and move, and try to frustrate Spence, but this is the style I think Spence does the best against. Spence has mowed down every single fighter that tried to box him up from the outside. We see from his fights against Sean Porter and Kell Brook that they had much more success when they stood their ground and fought with Spence after finding a jab to counter. And those ended up being Spence's toughest fights. So if Crawford tries to stick and move against Spence, that is the type of fight I could see going in Spence's favor. But hey, take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am, after all, the worst in the world at fight predictions, but predicting fights is a very difficult thing to do. But I'm starting to get better at doing them, since you tend to get better at difficult things the more you do them, like wiping my ass for example. Switching gears to the other topic of this video, Top Rank is putting out a documentary series leading up to Vasil Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Did you guys see it? It's freaking amazing, like lip smacking, ass puckering amazing. I highly recommend that you check it out on the Top Rank channel whether you're looking forward to the fight or not. I know this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but I'd go as far to say that this is the best fight build-up docu-series I've ever seen. Even better than HBO 24/7, Showtime All Access, whatever the heck PBC does, UFC Countdown, you name it. This tops all of those. If you're wondering why Lomachenko and Lopez aren't getting paid as much for this fight, it's because all the money went into making this masterpiece of a docuseries. Let's think about what makes a good documentary. Sick camera angles, tight narration, a storyline, relatable people. These aspects blend together to make a great documentary. Wrong. All a documentary needs is drama. Okay, I'm just messing with you guys. But that brings up a point I wanted to talk about. Spoilers up ahead. Okay, so now you've been warned. In episode 2 of the series, it was revealed that Teofimo Lopez has a shift in his relationship with his father. His father has become so obsessed over his son's career, it's gotten to the point of abuse, and Teofimo has come out to say that his father is always in trainer mode and never goes back to father mode. You could really see that Teofimo has a lot of pressure on him because of this, and the bad blood that has been mentioned over and over is revealed to be between Teofimo's father and Lomachenko, instead of Lomachenko and Teofimo Jr. This was some really deep stuff, and I was already favoring Lomachenko to win this fight, but for Lopez to have these personal hurdles so close to the fight is really not good for him. I'm still looking forward to the fight, which is already this weekend, so let me know how you see it going. Anyways, that's all I have time for this time. Thanks for watching.